I've reached the part of the show, rather early, I think, where I'll be reading you the latest installment of Ezekiel Kralen's story about the two little dogs, Flacco and Lucky. Pterry, that's Pterry, is a hallucinated pterodactyl friend. Terry's latest revelation is the title of this. Ezekiel Kralen wrote. Email correspondence, July 10th and 11th, 2023. Subject, my email to Carlisle Lambourne, re Eldorado, date July 10th. I just emailed this to Carlisle Lambourne, my gay activist ally of many years, who lives just outside of Boston. I thought you'd be interested in the topic, which is about the new documentary, Eldorado. Begin. Subject, the Social Democrats used homophobia in their attempt to dethrone the Nazi Party. I've watched the first third of Eldorado so far, and I've already learned something new. The Social Democrats, the main opposing party to the Nazis, played the faggot card in their efforts to degrade the enemy into dissolution. It failed miserably. So it's not like we had many real allies in Nazi Germany, and that's why queers made the perfect scapegoat for dismantling democracy, just like what's occurring today. No coincidence, this, as it clearly appears to be a Republican strategy right out of Mein Kampf. Enclosed is a sample cartoon among many published in popular newspapers and magazines by Socialist Democrats hoping to declaw Hitler's following by mocking them for being faggots. It's a screenshot from the documentary, and I don't see it here, I just have text. Sorry about that. Subject, the plasto-metallic devil I know. Date, July 10th. Obviously, I'm stuck for a while with that ginormous speaker, seeing as Deke's probably not ever going to bring it up, since I'm sure he's hoping I'll store it for an unknown, unglobbly length of time. In fact, he may even have come to the realization that it's just too much of a burden bringing it up the stairs for another charge, and an equal hassle carrying it back outside. I actually prefer that for the nonce, as lugging the beast down the stairs is a recipe for disaster. Should he slip and injure himself, or worse, harm a resident? So I'd prefer to hold on to it at least until the new elevator is up and running, at which time I'll ask him to retrieve it and never bring it over again, because it's just too damn heavy. If he refuses to pick up Lurch within 2 weeks after the elevator becomes operational, or if he just forgets about it, I'll drag it outside myself on a late Sunday night and dump it by the newsstand next block up, beside the deserted cafe, Flore. Flore. I don't know how to say that right. It should fit in very well, like camouflage, standing beside that queue of robots mural. I'll wear some kind of mask and ladies' clothes for the deed. Come to think of it, maybe it's best if he does forget, like he did with 2 previous speakers. I eventually discarded them, with Deke none the wiser. But they were breadbox size and easy to ditch, whereas this project is the 13th labor of Hercules. So here's the plan. Don't even mention that speaker to Deke, hoping he'll never bring it up either. I'll give it a month, after which time I'll discard it if the elevator's running, or wait until that day arrives. Otherwise, should he bring it up, ask me to hold on to it, I'll say okay. And that's that, as far as the trickster's concerned. I'll just wait a month after the elevator's working and get rid of it myself, hoping he doesn't discover its discarded location. So maybe further up Noe Street is a better place to dump it. If he mentions it after that time, I'll make up a story how it went up in smoke and I had to use my fire extinguisher to to tamp it out. Those darn lithium batteries, you know. And I hired someone with a truck to dispose of it. Cost me 100 smackaroonies. I don't know, Watson. This is just thinking things through. The important point is I don't want him to lug around such a behemoth for the sake of the hounds. So I'm not going to give it back to him if I can help it. Likewise for any other overlarge speaker. So I'll tell him I won't accept any speaker I can't carry up the stairs myself. That is 50 pounds or less, please. In addition, I'm changing his payment schedule to $120 the first week and $100 each for weeks 2 and 3. This is to discourage him from investing in another Brobdingnagian device, which he could only do with a $300 lump sum. I will remind him he was doing perfectly fine with a weekly allowance, yet still procuring excellent speakers, just not so huge. He gets great deals on the streets, often obtaining like-new devices, or even new, can we say, stolen. His clumsy manners, whereby a tall, unwieldy speaker could fall over or slip from his cart and crush the pups, is just too horrible to contemplate. But Deke's bipolar psyche forces such imagery into my brain pan, like psychological rape. I do think, however, his hoping I'll hold on to the speaker for a long time may have a tempering effect on his mood swings. So not only will he avoid mentioning of it, he'll be less likely to go on a rampage, else I just might be moved to retaliate and demand he take it back now. Geez Louise, how do I get into these messes? What diabolical trickery will my Cajun gremlin come up with next? I can't imagine, and don't even want to guess. Subject: he didn't get evicted, all capital letters there. Date: July 12th, 2023, or so a little pterodactyl told me just moments ago. He tricked you, Zeke, into storing that speaker because they wouldn't allow one so colossal in his tiny cabin. Grok. Think about it, Zeke. He was perfectly happy all the days preceding this supposed eviction. Then, boom, he drops this on you like a safe from 10 stories high. Huh. That makes sense, kind of, I mused. Of course it does. But wait, there's more. Pterry drew his pointy little beak closer to my ear before proceeding, which beak, by the way, is now decorated in paisley rainbows, fading, though, 'cause made of delible ink, and intended for Pride Week. Delible ink. Don't you see? Grok. It is an intolerably messy room, and bringing any speaker inside were the problem. He would have brought it up a long time ago, and repeatedly. Of course, I declared with a smack of the palm to my bald, shiny pate. And that, my well-plucked eider, explains why he did not want you to call the cops. Same reason he was madder than a wet hen when I called 911 a few years back over his broken leg scam. Exactamundo, Zeke. It was another setup, squawked Pterry in a whistling guffaw, trying to squeeze moolah from a driver who pulled out right near his feet, dangling over the curb. Oh, my foot. Grok. You broke my foot. Oh, oh, oh. He sure was pissed when the EMTs strapped him onto the gurney against his will and carried him off to the hospital. I recollected with glee. To be continued.